This is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water.
It truly feels as though labeling this man unintelligent falls short. The President of the United States is a buffoon. Comedian Troy Bond, however, sees his press conferences in a different light.
Trump is the only Republican I've ever seen who wants to be funny and is funny. You can fake being smart, you can't fake being funny. Luckily, Trump only fakes one of those. The other one he's just naturally good at. Trump should be the mascot for America. F the bald eagle. That's not America anymore. Bald eagle is powerful, man. It soars. This picks up fish out of the water and then keeps flying. I've never seen an American do that. Trump is the mascot for America. He is confidently wrong. Little BBW. You ever watch him like at the podium? Just right here, just puts it out like this.
His line of Trump only faking being smart and not funny is rather spot on, I must say.
Ron would have not been governor if it wasn't for me. Well, then when I hear he might run, I consider that very disloyal.
Mar-a-Lago meltdown.
Former President Trump spent much of yesterday ranting online.
Just hammering Ron DeSantis on social media.
Trump blasting rival Ron DeSantis as an average governor and calling him disloyal. Ron DeSanctimonious is playing games, he ranted.
And he says, what about, please, sir, do not call him a fat pig. We cannot call. Says, what about Christie? He's a fat pig. You can't call. No, look. Please do not call Chris Christie a fat pig. Okay? It's not appropriate. Because you're not allowed to use the word fat. Use the word pig, but you can't use the word. No, we don't want to call him that. I don't want to call him that.
In the build-up to the 2024 election, Trump tried out new nicknames on his fellow Republicans, which Bond commented on.
When he's not president, everything he says, I'm like, yo, you should be doing a Netflix special. I hated Trump every day he was in office, but once he left, I started to miss him. He's like an ex-girlfriend, you know? Like, I look at him, I'm like, oh, baby, I didn't know what I had. Going from Trump to Biden is like going from Alzheimer's to dementia. It's like, I missed the last one I had. Now he's running for president, and he's fat-shaming everyone he's running against. He fat-shamed Chris Christie, which is hilarious. Because I guess there's no mirrors at Mar-a-Lago. He fat-shamed Ron DeSantis in a way that's so poetic. He calls him Meatball Ron. You can't come back. You can't come back from being called a meatball. You're called Meatball Ron. That sticks with you like herpes. You have it for life.
I really do not understand how Trump can fat shame others. He is not the embodiment of health by any stretch of the imagination. He eats terribly, consumes sugary drinks, and does not exercise, except when he believes riding in a golf cart is exercising.
Hey guys, quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Rick Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStromShow. Also be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you.
One of the things we need in our elected leaders, for them to tell the truth, even if it's unpopular. Donald Trump is not running for president to make America great again. Donald Trump is not running for president to represent the people that voted for him in 2016 and 2020. Donald Trump is running to stay out of prison. And if we elect... I know. Listen, I know the truth. The truth is hard.
You know, this was a big talking point prior to his victory over Democratic nominee Kamala Harris. But when even pontificating on the particulars of this event taking place.
You know, if Trump gets arrested, which is probably not gonna happen, if he goes to jail, you know the Secret Service has to go with him. That's a real thing. I found that out yesterday. I don't know if they go into jail with him in suits or if they all get a jumpsuit. It'd be funny if they all got jumpsuits and still had the sunglasses. They're like, POTUS has dropped the soap. He's dropped the soap. Get him now. Get him now. We have a Mar-a-Lago situation right here. POTUS's border is open. The border is unprotected. It's unprotected. There's a bunch of Mexicans trying to get in there.
One could only imagine the setup that he would have if prison was his home.
If you want to really see something that's sad, take a look at what happened.
Remember this? Because Bond had a spot on assessment.
I just shot Donald Trump! July 13th, Saturday. That's the day Trump became president again. You know how I know that? I love Star Wars. Remember when the Jedi Council went to go arrest Palpatine? That's what's about to happen to Trump. The attempt on my life left me scarred in the form. The Jedi, you got this black guy, Mace Windu, born in Space Kenya. The march on the Jedi Temple was a peaceful demonstration. It's peaceful. We support our troops. We love the clone troopers. We love them. People are like, political violence ain't funny. Yes, it is. That is hilarious. Yo, if someone shoots Joe Biden, I'm gonna laugh my ass off. Because that's not gonna kill that motherfucker. I've watched him fall every day for 4 years and get back up. He got Wolverine bones.
Another fine call out from Bond is this. Why does Trump stand the way he does? On Reddit presidents, the theories ran wild in the comments section.
I love when he has the podium. He's like a little with the podium. He just leans over it. Let me show you. He's just with the podium just like this. Just like this.
There's another solid bit from Bond, and it involves this guy. The man who sent us to the wolves, Democrat President Joe Biden.
Play Call of Duty for some of you motherfuckers. I know you know how to say it. You like Joe Biden with that hard R, dog. You just let it out. You're like, I got a black friend, man. It's okay. First of all, you get that old, your balls get long, right? Like that's why Joe Biden be walking like that. You don't want to step on his balls. You ever hear him whisper mid-sentence? It's because he just stepped on a nut. He's like, here's me. People are like, he's too old. He doesn't know what he's doing. No, he just stepped on his nuts. You ever watch him just wander off? I get why hunters smoke crack. Trump grabbed about a handful, then convicted, and just got shot. He is wasting his time and should just drop a mixtape. That would be amazing.
If you want to see more Troy Bond, head over to his YouTube channel for tons of great content. Throw him a follow on Instagram, where he is approaching 800,000 followers. And to see Troy in person, head over to the URL troybond.komi.io.
Hi, my name's Chris Cluey, 15-year HB resident. I'm here to speak out against both the plaque and the current city council. As the community made clear at the Library Commission meeting last Tuesday, everyone is in favor of a plaque to celebrate the library, but the vast majority are against including a MAGA acrostic. Okay? Unfortunately, it's clear that this council does not listen, so instead I'm going to take my time to say what MAGA has stood for these past 3 weeks. MAGA stands for trying to erase trans people from existence. MAGA stands for resegregation and racism. MAGA stands for censorship and book bans. MAGA stands for firing air traffic controllers while planes are crashing. MAGA stands for firing the people overseeing our nuclear arsenal. MAGA stands for firing military veterans and those serving them at the VA, including canceling research on veteran suicide. MAGA stands for cutting funds to education, including for disabled children. MAGA is profoundly corrupt, unmistakably anti-democracy, and most importantly, MAGA is explicitly a Nazi movement. You may have replaced a swastika with a red hat, but that is what it is. I will now engage in the time-honored American tradition of peaceful civil disobedience.
Get the heck. Get out.
That is not just any citizen. That is former NFL punter Chris Cluey, a man who practically gave up his lucrative career to speak up for the marginalized in society. Thus, as an example, when former Maryland delegate and Democrat Emmett C. Burns voiced his support for opposing gay marriage, this happened.
This was part of a letter you wrote to Maryland State Delegate Emmett Burns, who urged the Baltimore Ravens owner to tell his players to basically keep their mouths shut when it comes to advocating for gay rights. You said, "I can assure you that gay people getting married will have zero effect on your life. They won't come into your house and steal your children. They won't magically turn you into a lustful monster. They won't even overthrow the government in an of hedonistic debauchery, because all of a sudden they have the same legal rights as the other 90% of our population. Rights like Social Security benefits, child care tax credits, family and medical leave to take care of loved ones, and COBRA health care for spouses and children." But two, once again, you're willing to stand up and be courageous in a way that other people aren't. If someone told you right now you had to choose between muting your voice and not playing in the NFL, honestly, what would you do?
It would be, I would not play in the NFL. I mean, to me, this is more, and I know my coaches are not going to want to hear this, but their society as a whole is more important to me than a children's game, because if society keeps spiraling down, there will no longer be an NFL, because we'll all be too busy fighting each other for food and water. You look at the way we're progressing as a civilization, and it's cliche to compare it to, but the Roman Empire, we are so much into bread and circuses right now that the idea of entertainment is our primary value. You know, we're closing schools and building prisons, and that's not a recipe for success. No. And if someone doesn't say it, if people don't realize why that's a problem, then that spiral will keep going down and down and down until it falls apart.
Hey guys, quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Rick Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStrom Show. Also be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you.
I'm interested in why you have been so vocal on this issue, because you don't see a lot of players coming forward and speaking out on this issue, straight players who are taking a very public stand on this. What was your evolution on this?
Well, I've always been raised to treat other people the way I would like to be treated. It's a fairly simple philosophy. a lot of religions have it as a core tenet, and to me, it was the fact that people are not being treated fairly. If I am free to marry my wife and to raise my children, why are other people not free to do the same thing? That's what America is founded on, the freedom to live your own life.
Cluey made headlines for simply standing up for what is right way back in 2013. Then he was released by the Vikings in May of 2013. And while the team said it was for football reasons, Cluey recalled his termination quite differently.
This article you wrote, and the headline is, I was an NFL player until I was fired by two cowards and a bigot. One of the cowards you talked about is your former head coach. The bigot, you say, is the special teams coordinator, the coach on the Minnesota Vikings. You say he said vocally to you over repeatedly what you describe as homophobic comments. At one point he said something about, we should round up all the gays, send them to an island, and then nuke it until it glows. He said that you were going to hell along with the other gays. Did other teammates hear him say these things?
Yeah, there are witnesses to all the things I put in that piece on Deadspin, and I made sure that I had witnesses, because otherwise that's a very easy defamation of character case.
That coach, particularly the special teams coordinator, he categorically denies this. He says he has gay family members. What did you make of that?
Well, it's not like he's going to come out and say, yeah, I said all those things, please end my career now. Generally these things go through a certain legal process.
He would go tell NPR the following: in my mind, there's no logical conclusion that can be drawn other than I was fired for my activism, my numbers and my stats. exactly the same. I was doing what the coaches wanted me to do, and what I had been doing up to that point was enough to get me a very well-paying contract with the Vikings. In my mind, there was only one thing that had changed from the year before and the year I got cut, and that was I started speaking out in support of same-sex rights. So he went to Huntington Beach. He went to the Huntington Beach Council, right? When I see one council member who's a former mayor, MAGA mayor, named Gracie Vandermark say stuff like this, he wanted his 5 minutes of fame, and that's what he got. I simply ask this: are you clueless? What world are you living in? Like, stating he wants this for fame instead of fighting against fascists like you shows how all of this, whether intentionally or not, goes completely over your head. But to give an idea of who this council member is it a shock that she is a Trump loyalist who once created a playlist on YouTube titled Holocaust Hoax? Probably not. Is it a shock that she uses the terms, her words, colored people to refer to black folks? No. This is who they are. Is it a shock she goes to events with Enrique Tarrio's The Proud Boys? No. It's not a shock. Birds of a feather. Is it a shock she wants to and has called for, using the weight of her office, banning pride flags? No. No. He spoke out because of the events occurring in Huntington Beach. In short, there was a plaque that was changed to cozy up to Trump via the Star Tribune. Added to the design were the words magical, alluring, galvanizing, adventurous. They construct the same acronym as MAGA, or Make America Great Again. Kluwe, after his civil act of disobedience, told the Daily Pilot he didn't resist arrest. He would be released after 4 hours. Of course, the plaque would be approved anonymously. What an absolute shock. What a shock. A man who sticks up for what is right, has done so his whole life, shows that if you do stand up for what is right, you will lose your job. And yet him speaking out and others speaking out still wasn't enough for the conservative council to glaze Trump even more in the form of a plaque.
I thought I heard him.
Remember just months ago when we covered these pathetic neo-Nazi losers terrorizing the Short North neighborhood of Columbus, Ohio? Hurling racial slurs, shouting white supremacist slogans, and threatening violence against the community, these bigots showed the whole world that they're not as afraid anymore now that Trump is back in office, hearkening back to his first term.
And there are literally Nazis shouting the N-word, shouting profanities about Jewish people, walking the streets with guns and a megaphone.
Hate groups like this don't just pop out of nowhere. They have always existed and lie and wait until they feel emboldened and comfortable enough to show themselves in public again, though they still have enough shame to hide their faces. While these racist losers conceal their identities to continue living like normal citizens, left-wing protesters like college students and anti-racism demonstrators have to hide their faces to avoid retaliation from law enforcement and criminal prosecution. That alone tells you all you need to know about law enforcement's priorities in choosing which type of free speech they want to protect, which brings us just a few hours south to the city of Cincinnati,
more specifically the I-75 overpass, between the Evendale and Lincoln Heights neighborhoods north of the city.
A hate group dressed in all black and some waving Nazi flags gathering on an overpass in the Cincinnati area. They were confronted by residents of a historically black community.
Tonight, the clash above a highway near Cincinnati, Ohio. Neighbors confronting neo-Nazis dressed in black, waving swastika flags on an overpass north of the city.
As we've seen far too many times, and for the second time in just 3 months, neo-Nazi fascists descended upon Ohio to spread hate and intimidate the community.
The cop's going to give us an escort to Freddie's car, and he's going to let the boss... Look at all the
we got problems, J-Ball.
Yeah, that's what I was concerned. I was like, random truck, and my little ass is going to be walking by all the... And they call us cowards, but we're out here.
There's quite literally nothing more cowardly than being a hateful racist like this. Only the most cowardly, spineless, insecure, and sad people respond to the sheer existence of people who don't look like them with such vitriol.
We're outnumbered now.
We're in the thick now. Nah. Go down a little more. Give us distance.
Does it look like this Nazi is, in Elon Musk's words, giving his heart out to the anti-racist descending on them? Didn't think so.
We accomplished what we wanted today, though, didn't we? Chimpin'.
You can just tell that these entitled monsters relish inflicting pain on anyone who doesn't believe their racist BS, yet run away and claim victimhood whenever they're met with opposition, especially from the groups of people they're directly targeting. While they pile into a rented U-Haul truck, as per white supremacist hate group policy, local community members bypass police protection and take matters into their own hands.
Hey guys, quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Rick Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStrom Show. Also be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you.
Burn that, man. You feel me? Burn that. Burn that. Burn. Let that. I'm out.
This is how you should respond to fascism arriving on your doorstep. While we can't show the footage because the man recording the video filmed himself smoking, the man in the green hat here said, "The big H been dead, y'all living in the 40s. And if that doesn't summarize the absurdity of things like this still happening, nothing else does. Another huge shout out goes to this legend who was repeatedly called the N-word and harassed while showing the neo-Nazis that he can express his Second Amendment rights just like they can, all while blasting the Public Enemy anthem, Fight the Power.
Yesterday, some incels playing Nazi dress-up got absolutely embarrassed outside of Lincoln Heights, Ohio. This is how America needs to respond to these people every single time.
TikToker Real Takes echoed the same sentiment. The Lincoln Heights community showed exactly how to deal with these abject losers while contextualizing the hate rally and the importance of the neighborhood being targeted.
In 1923, 48 acres of land were set aside 15 miles away from Cincinnati to essentially set up an all-black town. Of course, nothing was graded, nothing was paved, there were no sidewalks, there were no gutters, nothing was set up to make this a good place to live. Until 1946, that the village of Lincoln Heights was actually incorporated, they were able to keep 10% of that land that had originally been given to them. So a lot of the community really rallied around the church, with Mount Moriah Baptist being established back in 1925. It would be until 1967 that Lincoln Heights would get a health center to actually be able to take care of themselves. People of Lincoln Heights persevered through all of this and kept pushing. To this day, they remain a strong community, and some of the elderly there are people that march with Martin Luther King.
Shout out to Real Takes, highlighting the resiliency of Lincoln Heights and its community members, as well as everyone who showed that hate has no place anywhere and will be met with fierce opposition whenever it rears its ugly head again, because it inevitably always does, under the conditions we're subjected to.
If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.